Okay, guys, here we go with the first exercise. This will be a complete walkthrough about this image. We have the final reference that was made from a former student. Let's start. Here we have the render is a 32-bit smart object, and here we have masks, all the mask we need with a black background at the bottom, and the same for the passes. We have all the passes we need. Remember only one thing, that if this is your project and you have your render which is 32-bit at the beginning, don't keep the ZDAP here because you need a 32-bit ZDAP. So in case this is your file, you right click, duplicate layer, and you pick a new file and you bring the ZDAP into a new file. Okay, this is a 16-bit, but you should have a 32-bit. And then the first thing you do here is make a black layer, Shift F5, black, press OK. And then here you go for some levels, you invert black to white, and then you got, the ZDAP for the fog, and you keep it here for, the right moment for using it. And then you can go back on the main file. And normally what you do is at this point, while you have the smart object, you go here, image mode, 16-bit. So now we can start. We have the render inside the render folder. The first thing we do here is to make a group at the bottom, and we call this one sky, uppercase. And what I'm trying to do in this image is to, of course, keep the focus, keep the attention here in the central part. And so what I'm going to do here, probably I'm going for an overcast, very dramatic sky, but I'm trying to keep a little bit of light behind these trees. So in some way is like, me calling your attention in this area, which is exactly what I want to do. Maybe, I don't know, I will find some clouds going in this way. So again, I'm just trying to bring you here, okay? And I have a few photos here, backplates from Peter Guthrie. Of course, Peter Guthrie HDRIs are a must, not just because of the quality, but because Peter just, together with the HDRI, gives you the backplates, which are amazing. Even if they are 8-bit, they are not post-produced, so you can just place them at the back in the background. I mean, you can do this, or you can go with your own photos, with your own raw camera pictures, which are even better if you have the right condition of light, if you have, something that match with the HDRI you have used in the 3D software. Okay, this is cool because most of the time, we use the same HDRI in the render and then the back plates of that HDRI to do the post-production. So, it's worth the price, I would say. So what to do here? I'm going for sky, but I'm not going just with one of them, okay? Because, sometimes I mix them to create a new one, to create exactly what I need. And so I look at this one and I can see there's some clouds going in this direction, you see? So I pick this one, among the hundreds I have. So I place this one in the sky folder. And when you drag and drop something from the outside, it becomes a smart object anyway. So I, scale it up and, place it there, press OK, and bring this inside the sky folder. And it looks great, as it is. But I'm going to, place even this one because I like the sun reaching out from behind the clouds. So I'm also putting this one. This one have to be flipped horizontal. So while you have the anchors, with you can right click and flip horizontal, and then you see you have a little bit of a glimpse of a light down there. Now, of course, we are not going to replicate exactly these results because this is made from students. I'm not copying. I'm not following what he does step by step. I'm doing my version. Okay, so it could be slightly different, but who cares? You can start again from, the same start file, and you can do your own version. At least you know what I'm doing, and the only thing that it's important is you need to know yourself what you want to go. Okay, what's the result you want to achieve? And maybe if you can't imagine the end result, at least you can understand where you are going or what part of the image needs attention. And all we do, you will see, all we are going to do during this post production is to point you there. Okay, so please, this is something I say every time to students: don't care about what you like, okay, but you should care about what is better for the image itself. I mean, it doesn't, of course, what you like does matter, okay? I'm not saying something different, but let's say that, I don't know, you like a certain type of, I don't know, things. I don't know, I like Ferrari, okay? This is a weird example. I like Ferraris, okay? So that means I can put a Ferrari here? No, because that's not good for the image. That's only good for me and for my ego. So just think about what is good for the image, and every time you want to add something or improve something, improve some elements, change some elements, just think about, make yourself the question: is this thing I'm going to do good or bad for the image, right? And if the answer is probably is not good for the image, so don't do it. Okay, anyway, let's go back in here, and here we have a little bit of light, and I'm just masking this. I invert the mask, and I do this every time, because I want to see the result, and then I just, delete it, making the mask black, because I know that I will go back here and, with a very simple brush, maybe with a little bit of opacity, okay, I will start painting white and reveal back what I just deleted, what I just hide it, okay? It's not deleted, it's just hide it. Now, when I paint, normally I keep this one on, but this time I keep the size on pressure off, like this, because I don't want to make a small stroke. I want to make big strokes, just like, so I can just work with the opacity and the opacity and pressure. So I can be very, very, very subtle. Like you see, it's like little by little, I go, with the, to the end result, pressing a lot of times. Okay, I'm not just doing one single pass. I'm just clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking, and as soon as I see something that I like, I stop. Okay, and these allow me to do also this. I can unlink the mask from the content, and I can move the content, because now I know where the content should be here, but maybe I don't like the type of content. Maybe, this part is too bright, I don't like it. So you see, I'm just working in this area because of the mask is white there, but at the same time, I'm moving the content, and I like this one here. You see, I like the fact that I can see just a glimpse of light coming up from the trees, and that's it. So let's keep this one like this. And, normally what I do is I keep the sky pretty bright anyway, because if you have a nice exposure on the building, the sky should be bright, because there is a kind of an overexposure. The sky is anyway a sort of lamp. So, there's a lot of light coming from there, up there, even if we have something stormy like this, okay? But anyway, if you want, just, spoiler alert, what we're going to do, even after, in any moment, we can have a little bit of a curve, and make this a little bit darker. And maybe I want to make it darker here. So I'm just, going with the brush, or, this time deleting this from here, you see. And this is kind of, a final result. I don't want to Probably this is not the right moment to do it, but let's talk about it anyway. Another thing we can do is, if you feel like that, the final image will be like bluish. I mean, this is what I feel like, okay? Because even I look at this, blue color in the clouds, and I feel like I like it. You just go here and go for a little bit of a color balance, and you see, make it a little bit bluish, and I like it immediately. And you know what, we are working with the sky, so the sky is always the king of the image. If the sky is cloudy and stormy and dramatic, all the image will, of course, feel that change. If you change the sky and you make like a sunny, beautiful sky, with birds and, nice clouds, everything will change accordingly to that. So, replacing the sky is a pretty tough decision, and is something you should do properly, but anyway is the first thing you do, because at the beginning you have to pick a decision about the overall look and the mood of the image, I would say. Now, this will, of course, reflect on the entire thing. So, for example, with the sky like this, I expect to see a lot of probably fog, or anyway haze, or anyway some water particles in the air. So these trees now are too contrasted, too visible, and I would like to see, okay, let's add immediately some fog over this, even if fog is about effects, and before the effects we have adjustment, props, etc., etc. This is the right moment sometimes to define the overall look of the image. So I'm going back here where I have the ZDAP, and I can take this one and try to Control Alt Shift E, so I have one layer only of the stuff. I Control A, Control C, and then I go back in here and I Control V here. Or I can just go into the channels. Here we have already something here, and I can just press Control V when I make a new channel to get a mask. Now you will find here also some other ZDAP or masks coming from my previous work, and I keep it there because these are coming from the 32-bit file we don't have anymore. So this is something that you may need while you are working, okay, in the channel. So let's take a look about there. Anyway, let's go back in here, and this is part of the fog system. So I will group this one, okay, in the effects folder, and let's make a test immediately. So I put this in screen mode. As you can see, everything becomes super bright, and also the sky. Now the ZDAP, I know that these cover the sky, and you can choose to not do it, okay? In case you don't want to do that, you can go basically in the channels, in the passes, sorry, and use this one, okay? So if you want, you can just Control J to duplicate it, bring it in here, and invert this without any other without going in any other I would say file, okay? And so you can go screen. So you see that this is the difference basically from the one with the sky, which is this one, and the one without the sky. Now it's actually it's up to you. You can use both. It depends on what you want to do. If you use this one, the one with the sky, of course, maybe you need some masking afterward. And normally I use this one when I have to paint some fog coming from the bottom. So it's normal to have a little bit of, haze, even, where you don't have trees. But maybe we can start from this one because, this one is about the fog only on trees, okay? So now that we have this in screen mode, we can turn this a little bit more bluish with the hue saturation, and we can go with the colorize, and we can increase this, the hue. We can pick the right color, and we can go down with the see with the lightness, which is basically like putting a curve and making it darker. But since we are here, we can use this one. And you see, we can basically do this. And what I'm trying to do, I mean, don't think I'm going for a final effect. Okay, the final look will be, something that takes time to do. But at least I'm having a little bit. You see, a little bit of blue color on those trees. Like if we have some air, some dust in between us and the trees. So if you just hide the layer, you can see the result. You see, they are now better matched with the background. I mean, we can also use some other photos. Now, I don't remember. No, it doesn't. We don't have any other photo. The sky is just brighter in the final reference. So we can just go here in the sky and look if we have something that make it darker. No, it's just a change in color. We can maybe mask this a little bit more on the on the horizon, close to the horizon. So we can just take a white color and go and paint a little bit more here if we want to get a little bit more of a bright result. I like the dark area here, so I will keep it there. If you want to flip, if you want to swap colors immediately, you just press X on the keyboard and you can just flip the two colors. So you can just show and hide depending on if you paint with black or white. Okay. Anyway, I like this result, and but I need more. At least I will try. I will try to put a curve here and make, you see, the background a little bit brighter. And yeah, it could go. It could be like this. It's also true that we have everything more kind of bluish, but this photo is that has more blue by default than this one. So maybe to match this a little bit better, we can add another color balance and attach this color balance only here, and add a little bit more blue only on this one at the back in the background with the sun. So this now is a little bit more matched, and we can close the sky and go back to the fog. And I will try again with this fog. Now I will add this one again on the top, and we can add the same adjustment. You see, we just press Alt and drag, and then we need to attach it there. And I mean, this is probably too strong, so I will go like a 50% opacity. And the screen here is still too strong, so I will go down a little bit here with the opacity, and I will mask this layer. Control I to erase this, and with the white color I will start painting here, because I want to reveal some of these very low fog again. And this will be a little bit more, this will merge a little bit more the trees with the background, because this layer has the fog even after the trees, as you can see. So I mean, this is something. Now this is a little bit better. Okay, this is an improvement. So if we turn off the FX folder, you see, on and off, we can see that we did a little bit of an improvement. And so we can just keep it. Okay, always do this. Always, after you do something, always go back on the folder, or on the main folder, and turn it off and on, so you can tell actually if you did a good job, or just waste some time. I mean, it could happen. Don't worry too much. Don't be afraid. Don't be mad with yourself. It's making mistakes is the best teacher you can have. So but at least try to be, I would say, realistic what your critics. So if you feel like that something is off, just don't keep it. And if you don't have any other like, I don't know, colleagues close to you, if you're alone as a freelancer, that came out very, very sad. If there's no other ones that can help you criticizing your work, let the navigator to help you, so you can see the image a little bit smaller, and you can immediately tell if something is off, or maybe too I don't know, bright or dark, and whatsoever. Anyway, There's still some work to do in the trees, okay? But this time we can try to contrast you see the z depth a little bit more. So I'm going to push this a little bit more on the back, you see. So I'm going to keep this first trees very, very dark, and then we get everything else a little bit brighter like this. And so in this way, when I Control Alt Shift E again, this mask will be different from the others. And so I'll paste another channel, make a new channel, paste, get the selection with Control click on the thumbnail, and then go back in the FX. And this time I'm going to make a new folder and then mask the folder. Why that? Because I can do now whatever I want inside this folder, and it will happen only behind the house, behind the building, behind the first trees. And this time, instead of painting in screen mode, I'm just taking like a color here, a dark color, and I'm painting in normal mode. Okay, so I'm just, you know, going here, put this layer inside. It's inside, yeah, it's inside, and painting here, you see. And maybe with, you know, on the low, on you know, on the bottom here a little bit, and then mask this a little bit more, you know, go down with the opacity to, you know, decrease the strength of these result. And now another layer, this time I'll put in screen mode, and you see I'm going for something like this, something like this. See, I'm just, you know, making things randomly, and then I go down with the opacity, and sooner or later I will get a result. If I like the result, I keep it. If I don't like the result, I will not keep it. Okay. I feel like I need to go brighter, even brighter with the sky there. So you see, sometimes it's a back and forth, and you have to do it. And you can even add more than one curve, because maybe you want to, you know, mask this layer only somewhere. Okay. Okay, now let's go back in here. And I feel like we have a little bit too much fog. So let me see. This is all right. This is all right. Maybe I painted too much there. So I will put a mask. I mean, this should be, you know, something that, you know, your brains tell you to do or not to do. Okay. And remember that mainly if you have some fog over tree, you know, it should be on top of the entire tree, not just one part of it. Okay, we can have some haze coming up from the ground, but you know, the overall power should be very similar. And for example, now this tree is more constant than this one, so it feels like it's a little bit weird. So let's go in the adjustments. Okay, so let's make a new folder, adjustment, and DJ. Let's make another subfolder, call it trees. And let's go and search for the mask of the trees, because I want to work on the trees and you know, fix those trees. So this is a one mask for the trees. Let's see if we have another one. Yeah, this one. If you put the, remember, if you put the layers in linear dodge, they will add, which is exactly what I'm looking for. This is, you know, the red, this red tree in the front. We can treat it a slightly different way than the others, maybe. So here we go with the trees. I go in the channels, Control click with in the first channel, then Control Shift click to add them to the selection. Here we have also, here we see we had the selection, and in the previous work we just add the front tree again. So how can we add the front tree only in this selection? You go back in the mask, you go and you look for the mask with the red tree here, and then you go into the channels and you Control Shift the red channel, and then now we have the complete mask for every tree. And then we go back on the tree folder and we add this selection as a mask. Okay, and now we can do wherever we want inside this folder. It doesn't matter. Nothing will be visible outside the white area here. So let's go into the passes, and what I'm going to is I'm going to look for the rototal lighting, which is this one. You see, you are looking for something that looks like as a pass with the entire light of the scene, but with a gray color inside. So something like this. So I'm going to take this layer, Ctrl J to copy it, and then I will bring it into the folder. Remember that if you use Corona, this is called row component diffuse. Row component diffuse. And but anyway, you can just turn them on and see the one that looks like this one. Okay, so just bring in here, and we can just put this in soft light or overlay. I mean, overlay is the strong version of soft light. I mean, even overlay is nice. Soft light is basically like overlay, but 50% weaker, okay? In terms of contrast and in terms of saturation. So you can just, pick yourself, pick what the one you want yourself, while you're working. I will go with overlay, okay? And as you can see, there is a very, very strong difference now, because it looks like we get back most of the light of the scene that we lost because of probably the translucency on the leaves. When you have light passing through a translucent object, the shadow on the other side is not that dark as it should be, because you have light passing through the object itself. And sometimes I don't know why, but I feel like that is overdue. The translucent effect is way too strong, and so basically you lose the shadows. Meanwhile, when you're looking at a real photo of, like, I don't know, pines, you get exactly this effect. You get nice light and shadows, even if those shaders are probably translucent. But anyway. Let's do this. So this is fine to me. This is looking good. I feel like there's something off here. Too much fog. In just one pass. So I'm going back on the effects, and I will group these two different type of fog. This is the fog from ZDAP, and this is the painted fog. Okay, painted fog. And you will see me doing this over and over. Okay, just going back on what I've done, and just go down with the opacity, because I feel most of the time like I exaggerated. Okay, or you can just mask out this effect from where I did it, just painting on the mask with a black color. I mean, if these three is at the same distance from us, then these three, they should have the same contrast. Okay, and if there's any tree behind them, then probably you have less contrast. If you have a tree close to you, then you should have more contrast, because it's very close to you. In other terms, what do you mean? What that means is, close to you, you can have the greatest range of values possible, which means that everything can go from black to white. But once you go far away from the camera, everything should become of the value of the horizon. Okay, so if you turn this black and white, so I don't know, I can go with the hue saturation on top of everything and go down with saturation. You see, close to you, you have a very strong range of values. You can have white, you can have black. But once you go far away, then the things change, because everything would becomes of this value here. I'm talking about values, not colors. Who cares about colors now? So okay, so this is the thing. Okay. Anyway, another thing I've done, you can have beside this hue saturation, to check time to time the values of your scene. You can have here a threshold adjustment. Now, threshold is a very simple adjustment. Basically, it read the value of a pixel, Okay, a value can go from 0, which is black, to 255, which is white. And basically it looks at your slider here, your pointer here, and say, okay, everything before this value is now black, everything after this value is now white, completely white. So the threshold adjustment just give you back an image which has only two colors, or white or black. And why this is so important? Well, let's say that you don't want to go completely black within the image, okay? Because normally in photography, what you get is like, going black is wrong, but going white is possible, but in a few areas, maybe the overexposed area. So what we are trying to say is that if you see this graph here, the histogram, you should stay away to have, very dark values, but you can have a few very bright values. Okay, this is long story short what I'm trying to tell you. And what we need to do if we need to avoid very dark colors, we don't need to get there. We don't need to have them into the histogram. So what can we do? We can have this threshold on top of the entire file, and time to time we turn it on to check if we have very dark areas. And as you can see here, I put the threshold to 10, which means that now every single value which goes from 0, which is black, to 10, which is a very dark gray, you can tell if you go here and you go 10 with the RGB. Okay, so everything in this area is now shown as a black color. Okay, so if you feel like, if you're telling yourself, okay, I want to stay away from those values, I want my image to start from 10 RGB, then you need to do something in here. Okay, and probably, I don't know what that is, probably some adjustment. You see adjustment isn't, so this stuff here that we have just done is making this darker at the point that we have these area, which are too dark. You just do something, put a curve on top of this, or make it more transparent, and you see this will be less strong. Of course, you need to look at the image and decide what to do with the image visible, but at least now you have an indicator of where you have very dark areas. Okay, and you can tell, you can decide your threshold level. I mean, maybe you can be 15, maybe you can be 20. I don't know, it's up to you. Every artist should have one. Okay, and you should stick with this information and do something in case you see something black in here. Okay, and the same happens if on the white areas, but at least it's okay to have a few very bright areas, because when you take a photo with the camera, it happens that you have some light coming through the window, and those areas are overexposed, and that's okay, that's good, that's part of the game. But just a few, not everything. Okay, so if you go here with the threshold, you should see something white, but not everything. Okay. Anyway, let's go back in here and let's put the threshold to 15. Okay, so time to time we say, let's try to keep this lower than, okay, lower than 15. So I don't know, we can have some curves. We can attach some curves in here. We can bring this up a little bit, and or maybe this a little bit up here. Okay, and then we can go down with the opacity here. See? And now, or you can, just don't think about this, and at the end you fix the problem. Pro and cons, like every time. Pro, less thought about this, less time lost about trying to fix this. Cons, you would probably lose some information. It's up to you. You are working anyway on a 16-bit file, which is good. So probably you will not see a lot of difference. Okay. Anyway, now you know that you can have the threshold and you can use it, and it's fine. Now, let's try to do the same on the grass. Okay. So I will make a new folder in here. I will call it grass, and I will make a new, I will take the same pass. You can take it from here, or you can take it directly from here. It's the same pass. So I will, like, take the entire group here and duplicate this in here. And as you can see now, this is on the entire scene. It's because I need to mask the grass itself. So these are rocks, and this is grass. This is grass. This is grass. As you can see, I have these 3 layers in linear dodge. That's why they sum up. And that's it, I believe. So what is that? Rock? No, it's okay. It's okay. We have everything. Rocks. No, this 2. We need these 2. So linear dodge add. That was part of the grass itself. So I go to the channels, control click, control shift click, and then we have the entire selection. And we can go back here in the grass and add the mask. And so now these will work only on this grass. Now I feel like this grass is a little bit too green, okay, a little bit too, I would say, saturated, okay. Probably, Superman would die if it flies on top of this kryptonite. So let's go back in here and add the hue saturation, and we can just go down with saturation, or we can, go a little bit more yellowish. I would like, I really enjoy to play with color balance, because I feels like that it gets to the point immediately. Okay, so a little bit more red, see, a little more yellow. And I can go back on the hue saturation. I can put the saturation up, so it will basically control over the color balance in a better way. So this is the result I want. Okay, good. I'm going back on the passes because I want to check if there's any information that I could use on the grass. This is something I do every time. Even before starting working, I just go into the passes and check them all. If I can see some, elements I like. And I can see here, I have the specular in Corona is the C essential reflection that gives you something like this. So I take this one, Control J, bring it up. I hide the passes and I bring this on the grass folder. And I put this in screen mode, okay? And now I should see some of the, small speculars that I can, get in here. If I don't see them, I can put a curve, attach the curve, and then, make this a little bit darker and make this a little bit brighter. So, it's like a nice way to contrast. This is a strong, very strong contrast, but I'm just trying, and you can, go back if you feel like you have, done too much. It's also true that, we lost a little bit of the translucency of this grass. So I go back into the passes, and to get back a little bit of the translucency, you can get the translucency pass or the diffuse pass. As you can see, this is without shadows. So I control J, the diffuse pass, get back into the passes, bring it back this to the layer. And, there is no rule for this. Sometimes I put it on the top of everything if I want to, get back on, a little bit more green result. Oops, I forgot to hide the passes here. But this time, because we changed the color, I think I will put it at the bottom in here. Yes. So you see the Rotota lighting is basically creating some shadows. And with this one, I'm going back to the original, or even, less shadowy result. And that's not very good because, the scene needs shadows, right? But at the same time, maybe somewhere, maybe where the light touch, this, I can, just, let's do this. Let's bring this to, I don't know, 30%. Let's make a try. Put a mask on it, invert the mask, Control I. Let's make this a little bit bigger. All right. And, paint white only there to see the result, okay? To see if we can get a little bit more of, translucency and original color, or only in this area, okay? Now, I like it a little bit more, I would say. Let me see. Maybe too much, I mean, this is something that depends on your guts. It's something you have to trial and error many times. Okay. Okay, cool. Now, one thing I don't like is the fact that we don't have enough focus on this area, because these rocks are too bright. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close the grass, I'm going to close the trees, and I'm going to make a new folder here, call it rocks foreground, okay, first of all. And then I'm going to search for the mask of the rocks, which is this one. And and also this one. So we need to take these three channels, Control click red, Control Shift click green, Control Shift click blue, and then we hide this one and we show this one because we need the blue from this one. So I Control Shift blue, and then we have the mask of the rocks, and we can just add the mask of the rocks to the group. And then we can go inside here, and I would go down with, with the curve. Maybe not too much. And maybe not everywhere, like here I keep this, see, this rock in light. Okay, very cool. Very cool. Okay, now it's a little bit better. Let's take the reference. The reference is really dark there. Is probably too much. Okay, is very dramatic post-production, and we are going this time for a slightly less dramatic result. Okay. Anyway, you have both, so you can download both and check them. Okay. Anyway, what to do now? I will go into the effects for a second, because I want to go and select the Z-depth, because this time I will keep it straight like this. So bright close to us and dark far away. And then I put another levels on top, or a curve, doesn't matter. And I will push this like this, you see, to get a very nice gradient from the front. Okay, this is pretty cool, and it looks terrible, but in the moment you press Ctrl+Shift+E, should get better, you see. So I now need this mask, so I Ctrl+A, Ctrl+C, back to this channel, new channel, Ctrl+V, and I have a nice selection of the foreground. So I'm going into the effects, I make a new folder, and I call this one, I don't know, Relight, just to know that I'm going to use a few things to change the lighting of the image here. And then I make a new folder down inside this one. I call this one foreground, or like even better, dark foreground, so everybody can understand. Put a mask there in the dark foreground folder. And finally, I can use a curve to make everything darker in here, okay? And this is about, this is about the distance between us and the object, okay? So if you want, you can press Ctrl+M while clicking on the mask, to make everything, like this, everything dark, everything brighter. So basically we are pushing, you see, we are pushing this mask. But at the same time, we don't have to go there, because this area is quite, in light. So Be aware of that. Okay. Now we are going to, doing this little by little. We are not going black right now, but probably in the end. Okay. Now I need to fix the bricks of the building. So let's go back on the adjustment folder. Let's close this one. Let's make a new group. Bricks. Search for the mask. Here we go. Here we go. So red. Let's go back to the layers, hide the mask, and mask the group with the bricks. Now, first thing I would do is to, make them a little bit darker. And I feel like we need to make them a little bit dirty, and maybe to control, we need to control the lighting on this side a little bit more, maybe had a little bit of reflection. But anyway, we can use the trick with the normals because we have that. So let's go back in here, search for the normals, which are here, make a copy of them. Why I'm going to use the normals? Well, because the lighting is, depends on the direction of the facade. So this one is looking at the sun, this one is looking at the sun, and so this one is not. So, depends on the, actual direction. So I'm going to take this normal and put it there inside here. And now if you add, as you may remember, a channel mixer on top of this, you make it black and white by clicking on monochrome, and then you go down with the reds, up with the green and the blue. But this stuff here is, depends on the scene, so we may have to change this. And then to move the light, we need the use duration in the middle, and you see, if you move this, it will move the light basically coming from. And you see, this is exactly what I want to do. You see, I want to have here a white area, sorry, not with the saturation, just with the U. I want a white area there. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to rotate this in order to have some white there and here. And I need to go back into the channel mixer to, define a little bit better that selection. So I want this a little bit brighter, I would say. That's the thing I'm trying to do, okay? So it's a back and forth, and you have to do it. It's not doing it for you, of course. Okay, now this works. This works way better. Okay, cool. So something like this, you see, and now is white here and black here, and it works nicely. So now I can just take this normal map pass and change the blending mode. And if I want to keep something brighter, I can just go in screen mode. See, and now I have this area a little bit brighter, and this is just an idea. And I can go down with the opacity, of course, you see, and I can have a little bit, something a little bit brighter only there, without painting, without doing anything. I can still work on this. I can still, go here and change the U to, fix any eventual, mistake in the direction. And I can go back into the channel mixer. Or I can just put this in overlay, maybe. So dark areas will be darker and bright areas will be brighter. I mean, this is not easy. I mean, this is something you need to spend time on, and because you have two adjustments, and both of them have to be right, have to be exact. I would say not touch this. I like this. I like this. Okay, cool. Now let's say that I want to paint some dirt, could be, bright dirt or black dirt anyway. And I want to paint it over the bricks, not inside the gaps. Anyway, I can see there is a problem here with some specular. So I will like take this normal map and delete it from here. It's because we had overlay. Now it doesn't work anymore. So if I do this, it's kind of a weird, but I mean, it does not look bad, but I will not keep it. I will keep this front dark. So I will like delete what I just did. Okay, good. Sometimes you have to do this test to see if you're making it right. Let's try now to paint some dirt over the bricks, and of course you can have your brushes like the ones we have done during the different lessons. And I don't know, I'm trying with a red color to see. Okay, this is not the right one. Okay, this is it. So we can have a little bit of, a little bit of a dirt brush. Okay, I'm not going for a red color. I don't want to do the post-production of a serial killer. I just want to see where this brush is. Okay, and remember that you can just double click in here and put an overlay color. Okay, I just want to make some tests and see if the brush is right. But anyway, let's keep it red just for the purpose of the exercise. You see that this is working everywhere, but I don't want this. I want this only on the top of the brick, not in between the bricks. So what can we do is this. We can go back in here in the passes, and we can search, for a pass with differences. In that case, I have this diffuse pass, which is perfect. So what to do? I can just, select the diffuse, make it black and white, because this should become a mask. Sorry, not colored balance. I mean black and white. Okay, and then we can, I don't know, we can go with a curve, and this difference is already visible. So if I contrast, I will get something perfect straight away. Okay, something like that. Perfect. You see, nice mask. And then, of course, I need this inverted, so I will invert it. And now I have the mask of the bricks, and I can just go into the channels and click on with the control on one of those channels to get the mask, because it's the thing that is actually visible. And so now that I have these working, okay, I can just hide the passes and put a mask on this layer, or I can make a group and put the mask on a group. And so now you see everything painted over this inside this group will be masked by that mask. And so I start, with that brush, but maybe I will keep make a new layer, and I take one of these colors, something that makes sense to have, you see. And then I go down with the opacity of this layer, see. And I know it's the same brush, but I can make it like smaller, bigger, more squeezed, more open, and get different results. And I can do the same, with different type of brushes. This is up to you. I mean, you know how to do it now. Okay, so okay, I need to rotate this 90 degrees here. Okay, this, or you can import some textures and place them in perspective, and it will be the same. So I'm doing now the opposite. I will do this with a very dark color in here, okay? And it should work. Maybe I will make another level. Yeah, it's working, but the color is not dark enough. So I will make this, you see? Okay, now it's visible. And we can do the same under the window, okay? We can have, I don't know, we can take some weird brushes from Photoshop and, take like a little bit of a weird color. Oh, that was smudged. So let's do something like this. See? And I'm painting only in outside the wall actually, because the only thing I want is the see, is the final, uh, part of the brush to reach out and get out of the window. And of course, down with the opacity. Okay, and so on and so on and so on. And of course, you can do this many times. Okay, and if you work with the blending mode, it will blend a little bit better with the overall look and of course the lighting of your scene. Now let's go back in the passes and let's search for other type of informations. Let's see, for example, no raw reflection. This is cool. We have a little bit of reflection on those bricks. So we duplicate it and then we bring it up outside the passes, and then we just, oops, I think I duplicate the adjustment by mistake. Yes. And so we bring it here inside the bricks. Okay, good. And we put this in screen mode or maybe overlay or soft lights. It's not a problem to try different, blending modes. Don't be afraid of this. You cannot predict everything. So sometimes you just try new things and you say, okay, no, this is cool. This is a new result, and it happened by, just by trying, just by mistake. For example, you see this art light thing is cool. So I'm going down with opacity a little bit, and I will keep this maybe somewhere, you see, only somewhere. I don't know. It's an idea, okay? Maybe, I don't know, it just rained and these bricks are like, brighter and more reflective. Speaking about reflection, let's fix the reflection inside this glass. So I'm going for a new folder, glass, oops, uppercase. And then let's search for the mask. And we can use this one inverted, but maybe we have the right one. So I'm going for a cleaner result. Here we go. So this is the blue. Back in here, close the mask, add the mask to the glass. And we need, as you may know, the raw reflection again. So make a copy. And I just want to show you what happens if you work with the raw refraction, which is here. Okay. So now you can see we have raw refraction first and then raw reflection. And if we bring them inside the glass folder, what happens is that if we only see the raw refraction, glass are completely gone. You see, you can see through the house, through the windows, and then these open up a lot of possibilities, like, I don't know, adding a black layer in color dodge, and then you can take a brush, you take a very soft tip brush, take a color here, maybe we have a lamp there, and then you can just increase the strength, you see, of the lighting inside of the building, which is very cool because it's happening only inside the, see, inside the frames, inside the windows. So basically on the inside and so on, okay? So this is pretty cool. And then when you're happy with the result, okay, when you're happy with the result, you can take the reflection and bring back the reflection. But you know that reflection works in different way than this. So you cannot just add a reflection and goodbye. So what you want to do here is to keep reflection 100% strength and add a first group. And in the first group here, we are going to, make a mask, and you can make it manually, or you can use the normal map to make it. And in this mask, we are going to paint the front glass a little bit, more transparent. So here I'm going to make this a little bit more transparent. See, just a little bit. Even this one a little bit more transparent, and even this one a little more transparent. Okay, and then we want to use the same texture as a mask for itself. So I'm going to look at the raw refraction, you see this one, and I'm going to use this one as a mask for the glass, because you know that when you have a strong light on the other side, then reflection becomes transparent. And so what to do, we can just go here, black and white, and then invert, and then we can curve to contrast a little bit more the result. Let's attach everything in here, see, and make, you see, everything a little bit darker and a little bit brighter. Okay, so actually in this area which was dark, we can see more reflection, and the other way around. So this is the mask. I click on one channel. We don't need this anymore, so I hide the passes, and we can add a second, this in a second group, and mask this. You see, now it looks very cool because we have that area which is now transparent. It's also true that this reflection is like wrong, because at the bottom here, you see we have nothing. We have basically no ground. So what I'm going to do is, to take a part of the render, like, I can duplicate the render, rasterize the render, bring it in here, because I just want the background. I just want the foreground. Sorry, I just want the lower foreground. I bring it in here, see, and I scale it down and bring this up here. Maybe we can also scale it like this. I mean, it's going to be a fake result, so everything is fine. Okay, and I want to keep this one only on the lower part, so I make a mask, invert the mask, it's gone, and then I'm painting 100% where I need this back. See, something like here and here. Now you get what I meant. Okay, just to cover the holes, because I expect to see something behind those trees, we have in the reflection. So now this is it. And again, remember yesterday yesterday, depends when you look at the videos. In the previous video, I told you that the reflection should be stronger where the light is stronger on our side. So for example, on the sky. So I should expect to see some stronger, reflection in here. So what to do, I can just, take these two layers and merge them together. So I have now a mask. We can bring it up here to see. I can, put a black layer at the bottom just because I want to make a proper mask. And here I want to put a curve to make everything brighter. So see, I want this sky to be brighter. See, something like that. Cool. So now I Ctrl+Shift+E to save the mask, to have it here in a new layer. But I Control click to get the selection, and I go here, and of course I want to delete this from here, so I paint this white. Okay, see, it's now more visible. So now if I look at the image, it makes more sense because we have a strong reflection here on the sky and a darker reflection at the bottom. And then for last, we can add a curve there, and normally I do this. I make something like a little bit more contrasted. You know, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It depends on the scene. Okay. I mean, this is pretty strong for a reflection, but I can go back in here, mask this again. So a group under a group under a group and so on. Don't be afraid of that. And I can just paint this area. You see, this is pretty front. So, you know, remember the Fresnel effect? I expect to see, you know, a very weak reflection frontally, something like 2 to 5% maximum. Okay. Okay, cool. Now let's close these glasses. And I feel like we need to work now on the frames. So I'm going for a new folder, frames, and let's go and search for the right mask, which is this one, the green one. So control click on the green and add the selection as a mask to the group. Now we can just go down with the curve and, you know, make this a little bit darker. And that's it. Maybe a little bit less orangey with a little bit. And remember that when you have a curve, if you don't want to saturate the color, you need to take the curve blend mode into luminosity. Otherwise, you will saturate the colors. Okay, and this way you can just control the values and not the saturation, which is nice. Okay. All right, now let me see the whole picture. Okay, I feel like this first tree here is too dark. So now I'm going to work a little bit on the lighting. Okay, so let me make a folder here for this tree on the right. And we should have a mask. Now let me delete this stuff. We don't need this anymore. Let's try to keep this file pretty clean. So here we go. Red, hide the masks. And of course, I will go down with the luminosity to make, you see, the foreground a little bit darker. Like this very much. And we should do the same for the bag, for the foreground, for the very foreground. We already did that, but I will do it again. And maybe I will make it like here, just here. Okay, so we'll make a curve, bring down the white point, the white value, invert the mask, Control I, and then paint with white value only here. Okay, to make this area darker. Okay, cool. Maybe even here in the grass, same stuff. So curve. All right, invert the mask and paint here. Very cool. Maybe a little bit here, maybe a little bit here. And what I want to try to do is to put a little bit of emphasis on this, you know, area here. I want everybody to look more on this area, on this area here, on this area here. So maybe we can add a little bit of light, so we can paint with, you know, black layering, color dodge, those areas, maybe in the effects folder, in the relight folder. So here we go. We can add a new layer, black layer and color dodge. There we go. And then we take a little bit of a color here for the light. We push brush a little bit like this, and then very low opacity, very, very low, and then I start painting. I can rotate the brush here. I have a very, very low opacity, so I have to do a few more, clicks or, passes with the brush, but I prefer to do like that because I have more control on what I'm doing, and I prefer it this way. Okay. And then you can see the before and after. See? And we can do the same on trees if you want. I can go a little bit higher with this. Should be very subtle, but I see. And let's say that while you go stronger with the lights, you should also go stronger with the shadows. But I keep that thing for the last, because it's really easy to make this area darker. I'm not even trying now, okay? Then I would go back on the grass, probably, and try to see if I can make even yeah, a little bit more yellow. So let's go back in here, adjustment, grass. The problem is, some part of it is already yellow, so it becomes red. So I will go with the yellows here, and or with the reds and get a little bit less green. And then the master. Okay, cool. All right, so here we go. I want to go back on the fog now because I want a little bit more of distance between these three and the others below. So let me go back on the passes, Z that. I mean, we have, we have this one, so we can, let me see, we have also this one, this file here. So we can do it here. And so what I want to do is something like, sorry. This. See, I'm trying to make it very, very strong, very sharp. And this is the mask I need. So Control A, Control C. Back in here, channels, new channels, Control V, and now I can select this area. And now I can make a new folder into the mask, into the fog, sorry, fog, here we go. Effects, new folder. And now you don't have to paint fog white. Remember, fog is almost like light gray. Now in this scene we have a lot of blue, so I will go for something like more bluish, slightly more bluish. And then you can paint with a very soft brush like this one, or you can create a brush yourself with, you know, I don't know, from some cloud shape. But you see, this works pretty well. And so I'm adding a little bit of fog there, and probably also down here. Okay. I don't really like this one, so I'm going to delete it. You see, I'm painting in normal mode, so I'm going to erase this. That's it. We should have a second background there, maybe with some other trees, you know, very dark because of the fog. But you know, it's okay. Or maybe we can just go down in the sky and make it a brighter, even more brighter down there. Yep. All right. Now we can close the effects folder, make a new folder, finalize, and then let's try a few things. For example, let's try with, first of all, a curve on the entire thing, so we can make everything a little bit darker. And less red. I like this greenish mood. That's not bad at all. And then we can maybe, let me think, we can add the color lookup, foggy night, and then put this in lighten mode. Just go down with the opacity to make the entire area here a more bluish, less black. And then I will go for a stronger light inside here with a more saturated orange, just to call the attention there. No, it's not working. I'm working with the erase tool. I'm sorry. I don't know, I feel like I should go back to the adjustment of the grass. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's I believe that this is, you know, something that, you know, you need to try, guys. You need to try, and if something doesn't work, you need to go back and, you know, change it. So for me, is always back and forth. There's no way to nail the perfect result the first time you do something. Never. It's never like that. Even because the image kind of change while you are making it. And so you feel, I mean, at one moment you can have an epiphany and say, okay, oh, this is good. This works. Sometimes, you do something and you like it, and then after 10 minutes you say, oh, this is bad. And so you decide to go back on your feet and go back on the first idea you had. And sometimes you have to try. Because if you don't try, you will never know if something is a good idea or not. Okay. Anyway, here we go. We make a new layer. We turn this into a smart object. And then we go filter, camera raw. And I like the green tones. I normally not work with green tones, but this time I will keep it, definitely. And here, guys, I don't have any number for you. I just look at here and I stop when I like it. I'm sorry, maybe it sounds a little bit, I don't know, probably I'm professional, but it's actually what I do. And because for me it's not just it's not everything related to a technical side. I mean, we are doing images. Something should be about what you like. I mean, but of course it should be good for the image. Okay. And remember that you can save many different versions. Okay, you're not forced to save only one. You can have many, and then you can print them, put in front of you, put in front of colleagues, and get some time, and you will tell after a week which one you prefer, and then you will keep that one. And it makes sense because if you think while you're working on an image, your brain get used to it. And so if the brain get used to the image, you stop looking at mistakes. Well, meanwhile, when you stand up, you go for a walk, and then you refresh your brain, you go back to your seat. It's like looking at a different image, and sometimes you can immediately tell if there's a mistake or not. So sometimes it's good to take a break and okay, I like it very much. And it's quite different from the original post-production. I mean, the other one was a little bit more bluish, but also maybe too contrasted, too strong, without any kind of life inside here. So I prefer this one. This one is a little more soft, more balanced, and I like the greenish tone that I get. Okay, and then you look at the starting point and say, okay, we did a good job. Yeah, definitely. So this is it. Now we need to go to the next video.